Winflo 9, this is Nike's best shoe. Let's talk about it. So let's dive straight into the specs. They weigh 238 grams or 10 ounces. They have a dot weld air unit for added support and responsiveness. It has a lightweight, breathable upper, including a mid-foot strap for added support. They have this 4-foot waffle pattern for added traction on the road. These shoes fit me really well. They're a size 8 and they come in true to size. They come in 5 colours for men and 4 colours for women. So these shoes are £90. However, if you just search the internet, it's really easy to find them for £50. So just do a little bit of digging before you buy them, because you can find a deal on these so easily. Nike say that this is a shoe for everyday training, and I completely agree. You can use this for everything. Okay, so let's talk about all the reasons I think this is their best shoe. So the first thing is the upper, which is really lightweight and breathable. It looks quite clunky, but it's actually really not. It's very lightweight, it hugs the foot well, it's just nice to run in. That leads on nicely to the mid-foot strap, which does add a lot of support. Lockdown is something that I really like from a shoe, and that mid-foot strap really adds that, especially when you're descending. If you're going quite fast, it just adds that comfort and that confidence in the shoe when you're running down a hill. Next up is the heel counter. This is really good. It's combined with this really big plush heel, that's another like. So all combined, this really locks you in, but not only does it lock you in, it actually keeps you really comfortable with this really plush heel. So both the heel counter and the heel itself are a massive like. So then we've got the durability. These shoes hold up really well. They actually look pretty new, even though they're not. I've run probably over 150 miles in them, and they're holding up really well. The tread on the bottom looks in great condition. They've got some mud in them, but that's all really. Apart from that, holding up really well. And then finally, to tie it all together, the comfort of these shoes. They are super comfortable, and I think it's all of these things combined, what I've said about the heel and the strap and the breathable upper. They're just a really comfy shoe to run in. Now, I did find when I first bought them that they weren't comfy, and it took me a couple of runs to really break them in. The first 3 runs were about 10 miles each, so it probably took me about 30 miles to run them in. So if you're only running 10 miles a week, maybe give them 3 weeks. But yeah, after I'd sort of run them in, got about 30 miles on them, they were absolutely brilliant. So obviously no shoe is gonna be absolutely perfect, and there are a couple of gripes on this shoe. First of all, for me, is the laces. The laces just don't bind. They do seem to come undone. I'd say 1 in every 4 runs, the laces come undone. Now I know what you're gonna say, double tie them, and I do. I try lacing them a different way and changing them up, and for some reason it seems to be more if it's a damp or wet run, they just seem to slip undone, and that seems to happen sort of once in every 4 or 5 runs, and it's a little bit irritating. It always seems to happen on like interval day or something, so that's a bit of a shame. Next up is the responsiveness. Now they are quite cushioned and they're nice and comfy, however they don't give you an absolute ton of feedback. When you're really pushing the pace, you can absolutely go for it in this shoe, but they're not going to give you that full feedback and spring and ground feel that a really faster pace, lightweight shoe will give you. So next up is the traction. So for me, the traction is fine on dry days. However, when it gets a little bit wet, if you're going on a steep descent, that can get a little bit tricky at times because they just don't bind as well as you'd want them to. However, the roads by me are covered in moss and they're covered in mud from tractors, and they get very wet at the moment. So it's a little bit harsh on these, but the traction in the dry is absolutely perfect, and in the wet on the flat and uphill is absolutely fine, and I've run over drains on them in the wet and they haven't slipped at all. So saying that, is probably the moss. My final thing about these shoes is that they are disgustingly ugly. I just hate how they look, and none of the colours redeem that. I just think they're horrible. I don't know, it's all up to opinion with shoes and how they look, isn't it? For me, they're just ugly. So the best Nike shoe, well, I did mention a few things that I don't like, but they're £50. That's ridiculous. You could buy a pair of these every single month. They're really durable, and you're just not gonna get through them. They're so good, and how much performance are you losing? If you think about an Alpha Fly or a Vaporfly, or even the Pegasus are double the price. The Alpha Flies are what, 6 times the price. So what are you losing? Like, really, what are you losing? I can't really tell. Maybe a little bit of responsiveness. That's such a small amount to lose for such a huge difference in price. I just think if money is a factor into what is the best shoe, you just can't beat them. £50, buy a pair every 4 to 5 weeks and you just never run out of new running shoes, or double the cost, not really get much benefit from it, or 6 times the cost, and okay, you've got an Alpha Fly, but I mean, they don't even last that long. Like, it's the best Nike shoe, you just can't argue with it. So I really think you should probably pick up a pair of these. I just think they're so good, and I don't think it matters who you are, whether you're just starting out and running, this is always the shoe I recommend to new runners. But even if you're an absolute seasoned runner, you've been running for decades and you're running competitively, why would you not get this shoe? What is it gonna lack in? It's really cheap and it's gonna get you loads of miles, and you can save your Alpha Flies for race day. They won't have as many miles on them. I can't see a reason not to buy these shoes, they're great. So if you're not sold on these shoes, then I've got other reviews for you down here which you can watch. And also, if you'd like to just chat about some training stuff, you can watch any of those videos over here. If you think I've earned it, please consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.